For those that have not seen part 1 of this video series, then I suggest that you go back to part 1. Today is part 2, Usucha Matcha. Before we make the drink, let me give you a recap on the tools and the ingredients that we need. For the ingredients, it's very important that you use high-grade, ceremonial-grade matcha. Now what I have here, as you can see, it's a deep green, vibrant green color. This is an Uji exclusive. Uji, Kyoto is the capital of matcha. For this, because it's going to be just clear matcha, it's going to be your matcha and hot water. For the hot water, I would suggest that you use a temperature of 80 degrees Celsius. You use a higher temperature, 90 degrees, 100 degrees, and you end up with a bitter matcha. But you use a lower temperature, then you don't get that much of the flavor of the matcha. It lacks the umami, which comes with your high-grade ceremonial matcha. For the tools, you need your bowl. So this is a matcha bowl. This is not as wide as the ones that you use for when you prepare thicker matcha, or especially for those coffee shops or matcha bars. This one is specially designed for matcha, wide-rimmed, deep, and also an oval-shaped bottom. It is very important that you get the right Chao one if you'd like to get that microfoam that you are looking for. Next, you need a whisk, a matcha whisk. Now, matcha whisk, if you are aiming for high-grade tea, ceremony grade, or like Usucha Matcha, it's very important that you use the right whisk. Now, this is a whisk made in Takayama in Japan, which is really soft and lots of bristles, especially made for your Usucha Matcha, and it's long-lasting. Now, this is a special one which is in black, very rare find. You also need a stand for your matcha whisk. Now, if you don't have this, I suggest that you always keep your matcha whisk standing in an upright position so you don't ruin your whisk. The bamboo's bristles are very delicate. You also need a tea scoop, and this is called a chasaku. Now, the importance of this is that it is designed such that when you scoop your matcha, you can measure it without using a scale. So if you use this scoop, you get 1 gram is about a heaping scoop like this. Not like that, you get an overdose of matcha, or not like this. This is not good enough. It's not strong enough. Okay, so that is your tea scoop. Now, another tool that you need, and very useful, is to use a sifter, a strainer. And in here, I have 3 nuts, which helps in making the process of sifting the matcha into your bowl faster. Now, why do you need to sift your matcha? Remember that matcha is not powder, they are ground leaves. So it's very important that you sift it so that there are no clumps when you prepare your drink. Now, another thing is a cloth. That this is just important to make sure that your bowl is always dry. So why do you need to keep your bowl dry? This is because you don't want any of the matcha sticking at the bottom of the bowl. And that's really all. I need a little bit of extra tools there, just a couple of cups. So this is where I dump my hot water, and this is where I keep my sifter and also my tea scoop. So let's go ahead and prepare our Usucha Matcha. For this, I'm going to first prepare my bowl. It's important that you keep your bowl warm. So what I'm going to do is just to pour hot water into my bowl here. And this is the same hot water which I'm going to prepare my whisk. So everything here has to be made in gentle movements. This is a tea ceremony way. I mean, if you're serving it in your bar and you're making it for 20 people at the same time, you probably don't have the time. But this is the way to do it. It's very relaxing, very stimulating. I enjoy the process of making my daily Usucha Matcha, gentle movements. Okay, so I'm just going to soak my whisk in the hot water for at least about 30 seconds, not too long. And then it will be in full bloom. The bristles will be softer. And now for this water, I'm going to dump it right here. And this is where you need your cloth. For the cloth, you use it to wipe your matcha bowl dry. My bowl is warm, ready. I'm just going to use a scale to make sure I get the right amount here. And remember to put your strainer in your bowl. Set your scale to 0. I'm going to measure 2 grams. 1. That's too much. So I'm just going to use 2 grams of my matcha. Tap your tea scoop there. And now I am going to sift the matcha. So 60 ml of water there. Now we are ready to whisk. Now to whisk the matcha, hold the bowl with your left hand or non-dominant hand. Slowly scrape the bottom of the bowl to start with, very, very gently, because you don't want to ruin the bowl nor your whisk. And then lift your whisk and whisk as fast as you can for at least about, I would say, 30 seconds. You are just whisking the top and creating that microfoam. So keep whisking as fast as you can and then end it with a 1 circle, lifting your whisk from the center. And you get your Usucha Matcha, a very thin, gorgeous smelling thin matcha. This is a gorgeous looking Usucha Matcha. Now it takes practice to get this microfoam. You don't want to have any large bubbles on top because that is not the way to serve an authentic Usucha Matcha. I would say it's in the bowl, it's in the whisk that you use, so make sure that you get the right ones. How does it taste like? Delicious. How do you drink your matcha? So you drink it as fast as you can, take a few sips, you don't wait for it too long, don't leave it there because the powder is going to, or the green leaves will settle at the bottom. So take it within a few sips and slurp it. In Japan, according to tea ceremonies, the way to drink the matcha and make sure that your host that serve your tea is happy is to really slurp it, and especially at the end, the last sip should be in a very loud sound, and that means you are saying, "Thank you for preparing my tea." Well, this is it for the Usucha version of our No Milk Matcha series. Stay tuned for the final one, which is probably the more common ones and popular amongst the general public. In the meantime, stay safe, take care. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.